What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have some amazing topics that we're going to jump into. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring my producer out, Mark Lee, so we can go ahead and jump into these topics and hit this discussion. Hi, how are you, Mark?
I'm doing good. Had a couple of things going on at HI, but of course we had the day off, so I didn't have to be there for African Dance Today since it's Easter Monday. But I did have over the weekend, I think it was on Saturday, there was a gardening symposium. So believe it or not, even though I have no green thumb, I don't know if you have a green thumb, but there are people in our community that believe in green thumbs and having those green thumbs. So they were over there talking about it within our community and how it can be something that more of us need to be involved in the African American and other minority communities. And like I said, I know I have no green thumb whatsoever, but maybe you were fortunate enough to have one of those and all in that space. So I don't know, maybe you've got a green thumb.
That is something that I am not great with, and having a green thumb is not me. Now, my mom, on the other hand, she definitely has a green thumb, but me, I've tried to grow plants and, things like that or whatever. I'm just not that person. That's just not me. I even got a plant that my friend gave me, and he was like, you can't kill it. It won't die. And after like a year and a half or so, I killed it and it died. So I'm just like, I don't know. So yeah, having a green thumb is just not my forte. That is something that I'm not going to do. Now, to be honest with you, I was just looking on the internet to buy my stepdad some, those portable pots that you can plant gardens in. So that I can get him back into growing his, his little gardens and things like that or whatever. So I'm getting ready to order that for him. But as for me, that is not something that I would do. I would just go to the market, go to the war and buy what I need to buy and things like that. But as far as me having a green thumb, no, it would definitely die on my watch.
Not on your watch. Speaking of things not on your watch, I think it was for the championship game last time. This time it's in the Elite Eight, but there is, a lot of times in sports, there is the Great White Hopes and everything. And definitely Caitlin Clark gets a lot of praise, but she's going up against the young lady from Louisiana. So they will be playing today to see who goes into the Final Four. And I know that Angel Reese is no longer apparently with her rapper boyfriend, because I had seen that and everything, but apparently they are no longer together. But they will be going in this battle, Caitlin and Angel Reese, and seeing which one of them will get to go to the Final Four. And a lot of people have been enjoying. I didn't enjoy it because they beat my alma mater, but a lot of people have been enjoying North Carolina State and the way that the two DJs play, because one of them plays with a lot of fun in the game and seems to have fun while he's playing, and is even being thought about for playing football because he's a big guy. So yes, big guys can play basketball as well and everything, but a lot of people have been talking about DJ Burns and his amazing skills and just how he seems to have a love of the game. But definitely a lot of people are thinking about basketball, but I don't know if you've been following that or any thoughts around this battle that'll take place. And one of them will be going to the Final Four after they play.
Yeah, definitely LSU. I've been an LSU fan for like some years now, long before the whole Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark beef started. I'm from Louisiana. Angel is actually from Maryland. She's from the Baltimore area, but she transferred to LSU in her junior year, if I'm not mistaken, to get a different opportunity. And I'm glad she saw that, she wasn't making strides at the University of Maryland like she needed to. And she opened her mindset and opened her eyes to see that, LSU was a place that would have, provided her what she needed. And she got down there and did what she was supposed to do. And so, yes, I do believe LSU is going to come out victorious tonight. they're gonna play ball. They're gonna play man. They're gonna shut Caitlin Clark down. She's a shooter, but she also has it bad where she's definitely pushing off, and she fouls a lot, and the referees give her a lot of grace and things like that or whatever, which I think is unfair, because if it was someone else, they would have definitely done what they needed to do in order to foul them out of the game and things like that. But again, grace is always given to those, whereas we get that pushback and things like that. And being an athlete myself, a lot of stuff comes with the territory and dealing with bad refs. That's one of the things that I had to deal with, not as an athlete but as a coach. I had to deal with that as a coach. And so I have had my fair share of pulling a Kim Mulkey. When I was coaching. Now, I didn't take the Don Stanley route. No, I did the Kim Mulkey, because when you're a female and you're in a heavily male dominated sport, and I also coach, just so y'all know, I also coach boys basketball, and I led them to be victorious. This was on the middle school level though, but I led them to be victorious the year that I coached, and we won the whole shebang, and I was actually voted coach of the year and things like that or whatever. But it's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know and people don't realize people experience. And I actually had to experience, the bad coaching, not the bad coaching, but the bad refereeing and things like that, where, they wanted the other team to win. So I basically had to go straight left. I have basically had to go Louisiana on them, and let them know, look, you gonna call this game right, or it's gonna be some problems and consequences. Because I saw within the me coaching how the tables were shifting and how things were turning based off of them making bad calls and things like that or whatever. And I was just talking about this the other day, and it got so bad where the other coach had turned his whole entourage, his staff, the team, the parents, everybody against me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And being one of the only female coaches that's coaching in DC, it was really crazy. We had to have security escorts to and from our games and things like that. So yeah, that's a whole different, that's a whole different ball game. But I honestly believe that she was going to come out victorious, and we will see them in the Final Four.
Yeah, and like I said, I know North Carolina State has surprised people because they were an 11th seed in terms of the guys, and I think the women were lower seed too, but they did send two folks from representing Raleigh and all in that space. As a matter of fact, I think some people even visited Jimmy Valvano's grave, probably thinking that maybe he's doing some stuff from beyond and all along those lines, because it has not happened in decades, and I mean many decades. But a lot of people have been talking about how much fun DJ Burns seems to be having, because he was over there even doing some shake and bake dance moves while they were winning and everything. So even the announcers were talking about, like, he just seems to have a joy for the game and seems to be enjoying it, and definitely seems to be, even his dad is involved in the game, which we oftentimes hear about the absent dads and all in that space, but his dad seems to be engaged with his son playing and all in that space. So that's good to see and everything. But it was just amazing. But a lot of times folks are thinking that big guys, and I'm not exactly a slender guy myself, can't do graceful moves, but they were always talking about how graceful he is and everything, because he's a big guy. Like I said, he's being approached by the football. The NFL apparently is looking at him as a player, because he's like definitely not a skinny person in that space. But getting off of sports really quickly, I know you got those videos you want to get to and some other things we want to get to as well. But I got to ask you this, because I've talked about it on another show, and apparently the ministers are upset. I mean, the ministers out of our church and everything. But what is your thoughts about the fact that apparently the Orange Man has been hawking Bibles during Easter and everything? Because apparently he was out there trying to hawk these Bibles as being this great thing and all along those lines. So, he was out there saying, he had to buy this specific kind of Bible in order to be supporting him. And I don't think it's a cheap Bible. I want to say it's like maybe $55 or $60 or something like that. And that's not even counting the cost of shipping.
Okay, you said a lot, so let's go back to the young man. We're going to unpack all of what you said. So you said that the young man, his father is there supporting him, and you brought up like absentee fatherism or whatever. Yes. To be honest with you, Black men are one of the largest groups that support their children. The media always want to portray and paint Black men as, being absentee. And don't get me wrong, you do have some fathers out there that are Black that do not handle their responsibility, but the most of the fathers that I know, they do handle their responsibility, and they want to be in their children's lives. The conversation that we never have and that we never discuss is how the mother plays a role of the father not being active in the child life, because the father doesn't want her anymore. Then she feels like, holding the child hostage is a way to, capitalize off of the relationship, and they plant those bad seeds in the child's head against the father and things like that or whatever. So we never talk about those people and how they affect the relationship with the child, but we always say that the dad doesn't want to be a part of the child's life, and 9 times out of 10 that's not the case. The father does want to be a part of the child's life, but we don't look at how the mother and the role that she plays in that relationship with the father and the child, because the father doesn't want to have anything to do with her. So she has poisoned the child against the father. So, that's some conversation that we need to discuss, and maybe we can have it on, get it on the show, and we can talk to Dr. Umar about it or whatever. I do have his contact information when I met him the last time, so we can have some, people of clout along with myself, so it won't just seem like it's a one-sided perception or one-sided conception, just coming from me and things like that or whatever. And we can garner some great dialogue, when we talk about the family structure and the family household and things like that or whatever. Now, transitioning over to Donald Trump. Yes, I did see that he was, trying to push the Bibles. I think he's trying to do anything to, gravitate to different people and things like that or whatever, so that, he can make money, because the, what's her name? Latita James is coming for him, and they're going to seize his properties, because on paper he has, billions and billions of dollars and things like that. But in actuality, this man doesn't have the money. And so, when people were talking about, oh, he's a genius and things like that or whatever, and I'm like, where? All the businesses that he touched, they failed. You know what I'm saying? So had he would have, been thinking as a genius, as they so-called claim, his wealth would have been greater than what it is, today. And my thing with the whole Donald Trump situation is the white folks, and I'm calling them white folks allowed him and his children to come in and, do things that they would have never allowed President Obama to do. And they're not even allowing President Biden to do. They're still harpooning on President Biden's son, about, he did some faulty businesses and things like that. But there was clear nepotism in the White House with Donald Trump. But, they want to shield all that, and they want to take that and say that, there was no nepotism and things like that or whatever. They wasn't getting paid, but they didn't have to get paid. But the business dealings that they got from, giving access to Donald Trump and giving access to that White House was, enough for treason and things like that or whatever. So,
hey, Dr. Anthony, I agree with everything you said, but I want to come back just because you brought it up. And there is a person on the network, it's not one of the founders, it's somebody else that is sometimes coming onto the shows and is trying to paint this picture that the collapse of the family structure is the reason that America in general and the world in general is in so much trouble, and all along those lines. So they're trying to paint it as if the fact that there are single mothers and single dads as being part of the problem and the reason that we have had all of these problems. And like I said, I think that they claim not to be a Republican. I don't know whether they are or are not and everything, but I just wondered, what would your answer be? Because I've heard that not just from this particular individual, but from others as well, when they tried to paint it as if this collapse of the family structure is the reason that the African-American family and other minority families and even the white families are in consequence.
That's a bunch of malarkey. That's a bunch of BS. That's asinine within itself or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You've always had single parents. You've always had, children born out of wedlock. You've always had this stuff. And, we've had these type of structures way back in the day. The family structure has nothing to do with the collapse of America. What has to do to me with the collapse of America are these social psychologists and psychiatrists that are out here telling people that they have to befriend their children and that their children are on the same level as an adult. note, and I was just talking about this on the flight back from Hawaii or whatever, with the gentleman who was sitting next to me, and I was telling him, that these people are causing a lot of chaos when it comes to, like the whole dumbing down of America. The Republicans are good at dumbing down, dumbing down the children and dumbing down the curriculum, dumbing down America and things like that. We see it in Florida. We see it happening in Texas with them taking over the school systems and things like that. It has nothing to do with the family structure. Now, does the family structure play a role in, things that are happening? Yes, it does play a role in things that are happening. But as far as, the dumbing down and the destruction of America, that has nothing to do with the destruction of America. What has to do with the destruction of America is the education level. They want to keep everybody dumb so that, they can control people. The ignorance and things like that is where they place things through propaganda so that they can control. You can, and you said it yourself, look at Trump. He's using Bibles. So he's using the Bibles to control the religious and the evangelicals and things like that or whatever. But as far as the, the dynamics and the dichotomy of the family structure, it has nothing to do with the destruction of America. We are seeing the destruction of America from social psychologists and through the educational system with the dumbing down of America. When you telling a grown person that a child can call you by their first name, the child can call the adult by their first name, and that is acceptable and that is okay, that's a problem. And so, in California, there are some school districts where the children do not call the teacher Miss, Doctor, or whatever. They will say Tawana, they will say Mark, they will say John, they will say Bell. They call them as if they're equals. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a problem right there. When we see that these people are messing and diving into, the family structure and things like that, that is where the problem lies. For example, when they came back with CPS talking about parents can't spank their children, it's child abuse. You know what I'm saying? So what happened? The children are taking over and they're out of control because the parents can't discipline their child. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people have child abused their children and things like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about legitimately spanking your child, punishing and, moving forward and things like that. I was a child that got spanked. Yeah, I got spanked because I was a hellion. You know what I'm saying? Growing up. So yeah, I did get spanked. My mom did spank me. Was I child abused? No, I was not child abuse, but I was spanked and I learned discipline. And just like with these children, they haven't learned discipline, which is a problem, and they haven't learned coping skills, which is a problem. And if you take any type of, mass shootings or any type of massacre that has happened in the past 5, 10, 15 years, you go back and you look at the structure of the structure and outline of the plan and the writings of these people. And the basis of it is they have no coping skills. The young man in that shot the people up in Miami, he lost his parents. So he didn't know how to deal with his emotions because he lost his parents. So because he couldn't cope, what did he go do? Shoot up a school. The young man in Texas, it was a young man in Texas that shot up a school, not the Uvalde, but it was a different one in Texas that shot up a school and things like that. Why did he shoot up a school? Because he was rejected by a girl. So you have all these unstable men who don't know how to cope, who are, never been in a situation where they had to deal with their feelings, had to process their feelings. And now that they're in a situation where their feelings are needed and they must process their feelings, they don't know how to do it. And so these social psychologists have set these people up for failure. That is the destruction of America, not the single family unit, not all of that, because we've always had single family units. And we're going to continue to have single family units, but that is not the destruction of America. It's coming from the psychologists, the psychiatrists, and the social structure with that is the dichotomy of the educational system. That's where it's coming from, because we have allowed those people to control what we do with our children. When we were segregated, and this is Black America. I'm talking about Black America. Right. When we were segregated, we produced more successful people than we have produced now. You know what I'm saying? When we had control of our children, when we had control of the educational system, we had control of how our children learn, what they learn, and things like that. We put them in positions of success. Nowadays, what they want to do, they want to put the child in special ed because they don't know how to deal with the child. They think, because the child is acting disruptive or challenging the status quo, you know, that they're ADHD, they're this, they're that. And I tell people, and I use myself all the time, I tell them all the time, you know, I would not have been successful in a lot of the educators' classes that we have today because of how they teach and how I learn. And they expect everybody to fit in one singular box. Everybody doesn't fit in one singular box. Everybody is not the same. But with these social psychologists and psychiatrists, they don't understand that what they have done is set us all up for failure. And to be honest with you, we're screwed. We're basically fucked.
I hear what you say. I hear what you say, Dr. Anthony. But along those same lines, and I don't know your thoughts around this, but I have heard some people, and I think I mentioned to you before, my brother works with some of those kids that are quote unquote at risk and everything. And I don't know, even though I had a friend that passed away not that long ago that talked about what you talked about, which is the Black Wall Streets and the success that we had when we were segregated and everything. And I don't know the prevalence. I'm sure there were gangs during that time, but I'm not sure of the prevalence of gangs during that time. And I do know that sometimes if you talk to people that are in the gangs, they talk about the notion of gangs being a substitute family and all in that space. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts around that, because I do hear that some people say that the reason the kids go into gangs is because they are trying to find a family where they feel that they have no family.
Well, I mean, you know, I think that's a bunch of malarkey too. I think that's a bunch of BS and things like that or whatever. You know, a lot of that gang stuff is passed down through it's generational and things like that. That's just like this unspoken rule, you know, like if I get in trouble, I'm going to take the heat for, you know, everybody. I'm going to take the fall for everybody. And I tell everybody right off the break, if you doing something and I get pulled in for it, I'm bringing your ass in it too, because I'm not taking the heat for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, you know, that's just these unspoken rules within, you know, the social dichotomy of, you know, especially the, you know, the Black community, because I talked to my brother about it, because my brother have taken the rap for folks and went to jail and things like that or whatever. You know, other people have done stuff and he's taking the rap for it. And I'm like, you know, how dumb is that? I'm not taking the rap for nobody. Prime example, there were 2 children who went in Texas in Wells Fargo, 3 children went in Wells Fargo, a 9, 11, and a 10-year-old, and tried to rob a bank. So you already know that there were some grown folks behind the move for these children trying to rob a bank, because what child in their right mind is going to think of, you know, trying to hold up a freaking bank? And one of the moms called and reported her son that, you know, he was one of the children that participated in the bank robbery, which she should have. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff is, you know, is passed down through, you know, hanging out on the block or being out on the square or whatever they want to call it and things like that or whatever, which, you know, for the life of me, I don't understand this blind loyalty to, you know, to people and places and things like that. Just for example, I live in DC. So, you know, you have people who are loyal to, you know, different sets and different hoods. And I'm like, first of all, you're in the projects. Let's just start there. Second of all, you own none of this. You know what I'm saying? So what is your blind loyalty to an area that you don't even own and you're in the projects? You know, for the life of me, I just don't understand that foolishness. And so that's, you know, that's very asinine to me in nature or whatever. But, you know, like I was saying, you know, the people that are in positions of power and play, you know, and to be honest with you, I think it's by design. You know, they want our children in a disarray. They want our children illiterate. They want our children to, you know, not know things and things like that, because you can control the masses when you know, a person is illiterate, because you've already heard the term, you know, if you want something hidden, hide it in a book. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's going to go and nobody's going to read it. So, you know, again, when we had control over our children, we had better behavior, we had higher graduation rates, we had a whole lot of things. But, you know, and not just to fault the parents or whatever and things, but, you know, it is the parents' fault to a certain degree. And, you know, we have to get creative with how we discipline our child and how we discipline children, because they already know that all they have to do is take one phone call and, you know, the law is on their side and say that X, Y, and Z happened. Like, for example, I was a foster parent, you know, and I would never in life ever do that again. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many children are in foster care. I don't care who needs help. I will never put myself in that position again, because if you don't know about, you know, those systems and things like that or whatever, you can say, oh, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know, there's some good kids out there. Well, I didn't have any. Just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? And we can do a whole nother show on that. But I'm just saying how, you know, they have emboldened and empowered these children to think that, you know, there are no consequences and no structures to be had. So my thing is, if you think you're growner than me, you need to get out of my house and you need to raise yourself. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I ended up calling the person that certified me to be a foster parent. And I told her I no longer wanted to be a foster parent. I called the social worker and told them, come and remove the child out of my home. This is not for me. This is not going to work. Not that I wasn't a great parent, because I was. It was because, you know, the children think that they're growner than you and they want to come in and they want to run your household. And where I come from, you're not about to run my household. So you're not about to put me in a position where I could lose all my credentials because you don't want to listen and you don't want to be disciplined. So, you know, to me, to hell with that, you know. So whomever's out there doing foster parenting and, you know, things like that, my hat goes off to you or whatever, but it's something that I would never do again.
No, I was chuckling, and part of the reason I was chuckling is because I said I was chuckling, and part of the reason I was chuckling is I can relate because my brother was a foster parent. Like I said, he works with at-risk youth in different programs and everything now, but he was a foster parent. And I remember one of the young ladies that he was fostering brought her then boyfriend to mom's house and all along those lines. And the not the foster child, that was the young lady, but the boyfriend started acting out, and mom had one of those what we in the community used to call come to Jesus moments, and she basically let him know that even though she did not bring him into the world, she could take him out of this world. And what she said to him and the way she said to him was so stern that this kid that was very rambunctious the whole time that he was up there and acting out with mom, when Malik took me back home, and it also was taking this kid back home to Raleigh, North Carolina, and everything, he didn't say a word. I think that he had been totally scared by what mom had said and the way that she said it, because she was having one of those, as we used to call it, come to Jesus moments. And I think that he understood that she was being very serious in the way that she handled it and everything. So like I said, she was not the child's parent, but she was also not going to put up with that BS the way that you just put it in, because she comes from an education space as well, because mom was a guidance counselor and was definitely has sisters that were in the teaching field and has worked in other forms of education, even in media education as well, in nonprofit education. So she definitely knows how to handle herself. And like I said, I don't know whatever happened with that kid, but I just know on that drive back, he didn't say a word. We even tried to talk him into saying some stuff. He was like, I think he was totally scared because he had been put in his place.
But again, even as an educator, I don't tolerate the foolishness and I don't tolerate the disrespect, inside of the classroom, because I just let them know, you can go get your mammy, you can go get your pappy, you can go get your grandmammy, you can go get your grandpappy. But at the end of the day, I'm the HNIC up in this mofo, and it's what I say goes. You know what I'm saying? You don't run nothing, your parents don't run anything. So it's either you can come in here and it's my way, or you can come in here and it's my way. Because I clearly told the child before, I said, this is clearly not the class for you. I said, you need to go downstairs and have your schedule changed. I said, because, when you come in here and you think you're growing than me and you know more than I do, then this is not the space for you. You need to go somewhere else. So after I had that, come to Jesus talk with him or whatever, he basically straightened up. Oh, no, Dr. Anthony, I want to be in your class. I want to stay in here. I want to do this. I want to do that. Because what you're not about to do is you're not about to come in my classroom and you're not about to be a terror. You're not about to, be disrespectful. You're not about to do any of those things, because I'm not disrespectful to you, and you're definitely not going to be disrespectful to me. And that's just the bottom line. Now and like I told him, I said, it's something that you dislike about, whatever, I'll give you a chance to, state your piece and things like that. But it's your tone and delivery. It's how you say it, and it's how you deliver it to the adult and things like that. And I said, if we can't come to a head, we can't, work it out, then go get your parent. Let me communicate with your parent, because at the end of the day, you are not the adult. And if, we're not seeing eye to eye, then maybe I need to speak with your parent and things like that. And I've had parents come up to the school trying to fight me and, things like that or whatever. And I just let them know, one, I'm not from this area. Two, I'm straight out the boot. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight out of Louisiana. What you not going to do, and how we say it, what you not finna do is play with me and play in my face and be disrespectful. That's what you're not finna do. And I think a lot of parents have realized that they just can't, handle and talk to me any kind of way. Now, because I match energy. I match energy. You come at me incorrect, I'm gonna come back at your ass incorrect. You know what I'm saying? But if you come at me in a way that's, nice, professional, I'm gonna come at you in a way that's nice, professional. We can have, those conversations. We can talk and we can work through the problem. But the second that you feel like, you're gonna disrespect me and you're gonna try to handle me, oh, we got a problem. Then you're gonna get a whole different side of me and things like that or whatever. But for the most part, I don't go through that anymore. I just let the kids know, hey, it's always conversation. It's how you do it, tone and delivery. Even when you're upset, it's tone and delivery. All you have to do is communicate. Use your words. You can be upset, you can be angry, but you use your words. It's how you do it and it's how you say it. So I'm not only, teaching them that, but I'm teaching them life lessons and how to deal and communicate with adults, because a lot of them don't know how to deal and communicate with adults. So, it just takes, it takes a strong person. And I'm definitely that strong person. Cause like I said, I don't tolerate the foolishness and, things like that or whatever. So no, I really don't. But,
everything. I know you sent me these 2 TikToks and I forgot which one is which. So if you want, we'll play them and then we can talk about them afterwards, because I forgot which one is which and which one is the minute 39 and which one is the minute 31, because they are.
Yeah, hold on before you go to the TikToks. I'm sorry. We still haven't gotten back to the whole Donald Trump thing or whatever.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
You took me off topic. I'm sorry. So, with the whole Donald Trump thing, like I said, he is trying to, solicit money any way possible that he can. And then he had one black person buy his $1,000 tennis shoes. Like, everybody's going to jump off the bandwagon to go get $1,000 Donald Trump tennis shoes. Why in the hell would we pay $1,000 for a pair of tennis shoes when you clearly don't like black people and all you're doing is just trying to pander to get the black vote and things like that? And that's all the Republicans are doing, and trying to pander to get the black vote, because he said black people like tennis shoes. So, he can relate to black people because they like tennis shoes. All people like tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? All people buy tennis shoes. So what are you doing to the white people? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to the Asians? What are you doing to this? What are you doing to that? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to those communities to pander to those? But you feel like, because you threw out some gold and red and blue and white or whatever color your tennis shoes are, that we supposed to, jump on your bandwagon and jump on your A train and, automatically support you. No, sweetheart, we haven't forgotten what you did. We haven't forgotten what you said. We haven't forgotten that the Department of Justice has been suing you since the late 1960s, early 1970s, because you didn't want black people to live in your property. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because, you have these black men out there that's talking about, oh, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because Biden said this and Biden said that. But you're not looking at the fact that, Donald Trump did say a lot of things. Yes, back in the 70s and things like that or whatever. And I'm not taking anything away from what they're saying in terms of President Biden, because President Biden did say some of those things. But my thing is, you have years and years to change. Just like, when we come into the classroom with the children, we can't continue to hold things against that child because, they got in trouble that one day. We have to give them an opportunity to change. And President Joe Biden has shown that he has changed. President Trump has not shown that he has changed. He has shown that he deals with people, black people in particular, in a capacity where he tolerates them. And his sidekick, Tim Scott, is a prime example that he tolerates him, but he's not accepting of him. And they have to understand the difference, that they're being tolerated, they're just not being accepted and things like that or whatever. So, my thing is, to the black man that's out there running around talking about you gonna support Donald Trump, when he's talking about law and order, this just to put a thought in your head. When he's talking about law and order, what the hell you think he means? When he's talking about law and order, he's talking about your black ass. He's talking about policing you. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about being a dictator on day one. You know what I'm saying? So you honestly think that you're going to be safe? You know what I'm saying? You honestly think that these white people are going to stand with you? You honestly think that they're going to hold your hand and, commemorate you on, what you got going on? You honestly think that you're going to be in the same pool with these white folks? You got another thing coming. So, my thing is to the black women, we have to rethink our loyalty to these black men in a certain degree, and I'm not saying it's all black men, but I'm talking about the ones that are out there pandering to talking about you're voting Republican and you're voting, Donald Trump, and you're voting against black women own best interest when you're doing stuff like that. That we need to stop having this blind loyalty, this blind support for you, because like I said, I'm not going to march for you. I'm not going to pray to you, and I'm damn sure not going to donate to you. You know what I'm saying? So we need to rethink that. So yeah, so we can go
No,
ahead.
but just really quickly before we get to that, because you went there down that path, but I did see. Speaking of that, I did see that 50 Cent, that rapper and everything, said that he felt that Donald Trump will be elected in 2024, and he was definitely, I guess, saying that he is prepared for that, and all along those lines. And there was a recent study, I think Al Jazeera, which comes out of the Middle East, said that there is about 17%, which is double the amount of folks that were there in the previous election, that said that they are going to vote for Donald Trump. So it does seem like he's getting a bump in our community. I think that is very much a thing to go on in that space, but definitely there are some folks out there that are saying that in 2016, he received 8% of the black vote according to the exit polls. And by the 2020 presidential election, it had surged to 12%. And now, according to certain polls, a recent survey from Gen 4, it shows that if the elections were held today, 17% of black voters would vote for Donald Trump, while 20% said they would vote for someone other than Trump or Biden. So that's 37% that are going to vote in our community, either for Trump or for somebody else and everything.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think the numbers are skewed and they're inflated or whatever, because we've already known that these people have, even from the last election, that these people lie and they put things out there or whatever. There's a number of people that are in support of Donald Trump, but I don't think it's to the point where it's like 17% and like the 20%. Because like I said, statistically, the numbers can be inflated, and we have seen that in the past that these people have inflated those numbers and things like that. But just like there are people out there that saying that they're voting for Donald Trump, there's a whole lot of people that's out there that's saying that they're not voting for Donald Trump. And the people that are sensible and we know that are not voting for Donald Trump, we are the ones that's going to keep this country and keep this democracy in order. We black women are always, the ones that come out for the saving grace and things like that or whatever, because, when they had the last election, when he was going against Hillary Clinton, my thing is y'all would have a dumbass man. Y'all will vote for a dumbass man instead of a smart woman, But see, the Republicans played chess. We played checkers, So they threw that Green Party woman in there so that she could split the vote from Hillary Clinton and things like they're trying to do now or whatever. And what did they do? They put 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court. Now, these are lifelong positions. They put young white conservatives on the Supreme Court that are making the laws and things like that. So y'all think it's all about the president? No, it's all about, the other stuff too. And not only did they put 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court, they also put a lot of conservative judges on the federal level and the lower level that had to be appointed by presidents. And those are appointee positions and things like that. So you think you're being screwed by, President Biden. You're not being screwed by President Biden. You're being screwed by the Supreme Court. And I use the example all the time with the student loans, how they, President Biden wanted to give people who receive Pell Grants $20,000 to use however they wanted. What the Republicans did was they played a shadow campaign and they went backdoor to the Supreme Court justices and got them to vote against what President Biden wanted to do. So y'all want to sit there and talking about, you gonna vote for Trump and you gonna do this and you gonna put the Republican in office. Y'all need to understand what the hell you were saying, because they're talking about, we had money under President Trump. You didn't have no money under President Trump. You got a loan under Trump. When Trump gave out that first stimulus or whatever, when they applied for their federal income taxes, they took that money back. So no, you did not have money. You had money from President Obama's policies. You paid a loan back from President Trump. President Biden gave money and you had money from there. That stimulus check that y'all received, that large amount, came from President Biden. It didn't come from President Trump. So they need to stop with the fallacies and lying about, they had money under Trump. You didn't have no money under Trump. He changed the tax code to benefit the billions and the billionaires and the millionaires. People like myself who are upper middle class, we had to pay significantly. People in the middle class and poor people, we're paying significantly. So you think because you're saying that Donald Trump gave you this and they gave you that. He took your earned income credit away. He took your child tax credit away. Biden gave it back. So y'all need to really understand what's at stake and what's going on, because the last time I said this, they was like, oh no, you're wrong. He's not this, he's not that. And everything that man said that he was going to do, he did. He's already said that he wants to bring down the infrastructure of the democracy. He wants to take away, like the Department of Justice. He wants to take away Department of Education. He wants to take away all those departments. And y'all finna try to allow him to do that stuff. So my thing is, all these people out here with these platforms talking about, we need to vote Republican, we need to do this, we need to do that, or whatever. These people have no clue about what's at stake. All these people, and that's another thing that I wanted to bring up is Candace Owens. She was on the Breakfast Club or whatever, and they're talking about, she's coming back to the black side. Candace Owens has never been on the black side. She tried the foolishness with the Democrats and things like that or whatever before she jumped Republican and before she became conservative, and the Democrats wasn't buying it, and she saw that she couldn't make no money, and then she went Republican. So the whole time that she was talking about black folks and this, and the other, they were on board with her. But when she went against, Palestine and all this stuff, her ass got fired from that damn conservative ass station that she was working on. So now she's making appearances on the Breakfast Club trying to pander to black folks. Now, we don't need your ass over here. Take your ass right on back. And then this broad had the audacity to say that, she's with her husband because he's intellectually inclined and that he can stimulate her brain. So, she's saying that she didn't marry a black man because she didn't get that from a black man. So you're trying to say that black men are dumb? They couldn't stimulate your brain? They're not intellectually inclined? You had to go jump ship and you had to go to a white man? Man, bro, get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, send that broad packing and send her ass back to, wherever the hell she came from, conservative, conservative.com, conservative America, and things like that. And then they were like, oh, just hilarious. Who's not funny to me at all. And what's his name? The other one that's on the Breakfast Club, the guy. The guy. I can't recall his name right now. They should have asked hard questions. First of all, these people are not equipped in terms of politics and things like that, because they had this man on CNN or one of the news stations trying to basically reprimand Vice President Kamala Harris and things like that. First of all, Vice President Kamala Harris runs circles around you. You're not qualified to stand in her shadow. And for them to bring out for them to try to bring out this man talking about he's qualified to speak on Black America and for this or whatever, that's asinine. Or whatever, because he's not even qualified to speak on nobody with his raping his wife's self, because he said that he raped his wife before before they got married and things like that or whatever. Charlemagne the God, that's his name, Charlemagne the God. So my thing is, every time he opens his mouth, he puts his foot in his mouth and things like that or whatever, because he's been, getting a lot of backlash for, like things that he said. But, they brought this man and gave him a national platform talking about, Vice President Kamala Harris and talking about what she did for Black men. When are we going to start holding Black men accountable? Stop going out there doing the bullshit that you're doing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you won't get caught up, and I'm not saying that, all Black men are out there doing, BS, because some people did legitimately get caught up, in the policing and things like that or whatever. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the Black men that are out there actually doing these crimes and things like that or whatever, that are actually, in the justice system, because they should be in the justice system. I'm not talking about the ones that got caught up that are free. I mean, that were innocent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that are actually out there doing things. Prime example, we've, before you go there, give me 1 second. Prime example is, we've had a lot of children, Black kids, who are robbing senators, who are carjacking, who are doing all this stuff. So, are they not to be punished? One of them, killed a representative for Donald Trump not long ago. So they're not to be punished. You know what I'm saying? The boy, there was another young man who was going around at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, walking around breaking in cars, and one of the neighbors shot him and killed him. So the mama was like, oh, y'all don't understand where he's coming from. He's the man of the house. He's doing this. How is he the man of the house? You know what I'm saying? He got a job. So, you're allowing your child to go out there and steal and commit crime and things like that, and he's not supposed to receive consequences. I'm not saying he should have been shot and killed, but I'm just saying, he should have been punished in other ways or whatever. But you're legitimately saying that, your child shouldn't be punished because of certain circumstances, but your child is committing crimes. And I tell people this all the time. I had chairs on my front porch. Some black man came on my front porch and stole my chairs. So yes, I did call the police. So I'm just supposed to, sit back and let him just take my chairs and things like that or whatever, So no. So we have to start holding people accountable and, things like that or whatever. Go ahead.
Just really quickly, because you kind of brought it up and I hadn't even thought about that for this particular show and everything. But what is your thoughts around, and not that I am knocking it, because like I said, my dad has been involved for a number of years with a Jewish American woman and everything. But you just mentioned Candace Owen and the reason that she said that she was with her white husband, and actually Kamala Harris also has a white husband, and I want to say it's one of the major tennis players. It's either Serena or Venus that's married to that particular billionaire that's in the social media space and everything. So I just wanted your thoughts as a definitely I would consider you a black nationalist, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to be and everything, but I just wanted your take on some of these women that are deciding to go outside of the race and maybe go to the other races for their spouses and everything.
And to be honest with you, I don't blame them, because I mean, like I said, we hold this blind loyalty to black men, but they don't hold blind loyalty to us. You have the Passport Brothers out there talking about how they go into these Asian countries, these, Hispanic countries, these Latin countries and things like that, because, black women are this and black women are that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they want a certain type of woman that's docile. Then go out there and be that certain type of woman. You know what I'm saying? So, my thing is to the sister, date who you want to date. You know what I'm saying? Stop, having this blind loyalty to black men, because you're going to be old and decrepit and things like that or whatever, and he's still going to play. There was a TikTok that I was watching where the man was 70 years old and talking about he wanted to date a younger woman. He's now ready to settle down. What the hell y'all going to do? You're 70, you're past your prime, you're you're used up, you know what I'm saying? So what type of life are you gonna try to have with a younger person or whatever after 70 years old? You done ran through it, you ran through your old, decrepit, used up and things like that. So what woman are you trying to entrap? You know what I'm saying? So it took you 70 years to make sure that you were ready to be in a sound relationship. So nah. Power to the sisters. If that's what you want to do, go out and do it. And you mentioned Serena Williams. Serena Williams did give black men a chance. You know what I'm saying? She gave them all a chance before she went out and stepped before the white guy stepped to her and things like that. What the black man said, they talked about her features. They said she was ugly. They said she was unattractive. They said that she was not sexy. So what do you think she's supposed to do? Is she supposed to take the abuse and the trauma and things like that and live a life of being alone? Or she goes outside of her race and dates somebody else who genuinely, loves her, respects her, and things like that or whatever. So that's the other side. You know what I'm saying? So the black men are always talking about, black women this and black women that, and this, that, and the other or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, if that's what you want to date, go ahead and date that person. But don't keep putting black women in the arena of, this is why you're dating that person. We don't give a shit why you date that person, because 9 times out of 10, you're not one of the ones that we want to date anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that and everything. I was going to be ready to say, just to push back on something you said slightly, just a slight pushback and everything. But I do know that with the aging of America and the fact that medicine has gotten better and the fact that people have gotten better, that I know some very virile, I guess is the word, gentlemen that are in their 80s and 90s and everything in that space. So there are some people that are still able to be very much active, even as they are older and everything in that space. So while that might not be everybody's speed, and I'm not saying that they got to go for the younger people either, because that can sometimes be very scary and all along those lines. But there are some people out there that are in my early 60s, but there are some people that are definitely even at my dad's age that can be very much active and even active in certain ways and everything. So
I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, what do y'all have in common? You 90 and she's 40. What do y'all have in common? You know what I'm saying? You know, just, you know, call a spade a spade. Keep it real. You know, you're used up. You done hold around. You done played. Now you want a younger woman with no kids. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what do y'all have in common? Honestly, no. Stay over there. Go to the nursing home or wherever you gonna go, and you know, be a geriatric and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm a pre-senior citizen. I'll be 50 in less than, you know, a month or so. You know what I'm saying? In May. But, you know, at the same time, you know, Black men need to stop playing with Black women and things like that. So you got to wait till you're 90 to settle down and get in a serious relationship. You got to wait till you're 70 to settle down and get in a serious relationship. Like, something is not right there. Something is not right there.
Well, like I said, I've seen some, and I'm not saying that it's the case for everybody, but I have seen some May December relationships that have worked. I had a friend of mine that was actually May December and different not orientations, but different religious backgrounds. Because I want to say that the woman who was actually the older one was a stout Christian, and the gentleman who was in his 50s, and they've been together now for a few years. Because I think when they got together, he was in his 40s and she was in her 60s or something like that. But they've been together for a minute, and they seem to be quite satisfied. So, like you sometimes say, to each their own and everything. So I have seen that there have been some cases where the exceptions to the rules can play out. And like I said, they actually belong to different religious groups, because I know that he is a devout Muslim, or at least he was a devout Muslim, and I think she was a devout Christian, but they managed to find a way to make both the age and the religious differences work. And like I said, to each their own, and sometimes people are able to make those things work. But I do know that there are, as you just said, there's some people out there that are looking for sugar daddies, but there are also some people out there looking for sugar mamas as well. So we do know that exists as well. So I do acknowledge that there are some people that are there for selfish reasons, to say the least, and everything. I know we've only got 10 minutes, but I do want to play these videos of yours.
Well, can you just hold off on the videos, because I want to do more than 10-minute segment of the videos, and we go into it next show. Because you know, again, they're trying to gaslight Black women or whatever. So we can just continue with the conversation that we have, you know, set forth for today, and then we'll start with the videos on the next show, so that I'll have more time to, you know, dig into that ass and you know, state my piece and things like that or whatever. But you know, but it's really funny how, you know, like with the Passport Brothers, how, you know, they're going to all these different countries and they're getting killed, and you know, like they're telling, you know, the men to be careful, because you know, the women are actually setting them up and things like that or whatever. Because I saw and I'm not wishing, you know, death or, you know, harm on nobody. All I'm saying is, you know, this is something that y'all brought on yourselves, because y'all put it out there. Y'all was the ones that saying y'all wanted these Latin women, y'all want these Asian women, y'all want, you know, all these other different types of women and things like that. So now they're playing to your unstable emotional ass and your sexual fantasies and your, you know, your domineering ways, and you guys are being set up and you guys are being killed. Because when I read the article, the father said that his son was killed because he went to another country to meet a woman. So they're telling people on the websites is, you know, if you're going to these countries to meet a woman, do not go to their homes. Do not go to a place that she suggests. You suggest and stay in a public forum, so that you can make sure that you leave that country not in a body bag, but, you know, alive, and you're not being unalived and things like that or whatever. But, you know, again, you know, they're using the excuse that Black women are, you know, Black women are not, you know, Black women are not, you know, this.
Sorry, but Dr. Anthony, isn't that just common sense? Because I mean, I've definitely seen people that have been lured into situations, even here in America. And I do remember that even our European brothers used to sometimes get people that wanted to get before the war in Ukraine, the Ukrainian and Eastern European young ladies and everything. There was a whole market that was going on, I think, on the internet with mail order brides and everything. So I think that this is.
I still have them. One of my friends did a mail order bride, and I told him he shouldn't have. One of my friends, when I worked at the state of Maryland, he did a mail order bride and things like that or whatever. And this woman played him, and you know, got married and came to the States, because that was her ultimate goal, to come to the States and things like that or whatever. He got it from the Dominican Republic, and when I tell you that woman made his life a living hell, you know, he almost lost his credentials behind this woman, because she lied and said that he had domestically abused her and, you know, all kind of other stuff or whatever. And this man had to put out so much money to clear his name and things like that or whatever. So, you know, he wouldn't listen, but that's what he wanted and things like that or whatever. So I tell people, like you said, to each his own. You know, if that's what you want to do, be mindful of, you know, what you're getting yourself into, because it's not all, you know, humpy gory and, you know, things like that or whatever. You know, she wanted him to spend all this money, you know, sending for her family, sending her family money and, you know, things like that, sending new iPhones and all this kind of other stuff, because she had no intentions on being with him in, you know, in a long-term, you know, relationship.
Long-term relationship.
Like that or whatever. So this, you know, like I said, to each his own. You know, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do, but be ready for the consequences and the repercussions of your actions and things like that or whatever. So, you know, like I said, they can keep the passport, brother, because 9 times out of 10, it's somebody that we, as you know, as Black women, we wouldn't even give the time to. And, you know, again, an unstable, unstable, emotional man who can't have his, you know, who can't handle his feelings, who was rejected, because everybody is not going to, you know, like you. Everybody's not going to talk to you, but because you were rejected, you didn't know how to handle yourself. You know, we've seen, you know, the term, you know, unalive. We've seen women, Black women especially, have been murdered and unalive because men don't know how to handle their rejection. Prime example, there was a young lady who was on a train. A Black man came up to her and told her, you know, I want you to have my babies. And he was like, no. She was like, no. And, you know, she basically rejected him. He stabbed her. He killed her. You know what I'm saying? A young lady was walking not long ago, walking to school, and she was killed because the young man was rejected. He was trying to give her balloons and things like that or whatever. But, you know, these are things that we're not talking about, the trauma and the unstableness of these Black men and not being able to handle their emotions and things like that or whatever. You know, so you always want to talk about Black women, but we have to talk about the Black men and their instability.
No, Black men are just as guilty. And speaking of being mindful, I know we only got about 5 minutes to go, but I did want to bring this up and hear about your thoughts, because, you know, hip hop is very much an important part of our culture and everything. And just like Jeff Epstein got in trouble, there is a certain major rapper that has been accused, and some people say that he flew out of the country temporarily because he was dealing with some trafficking things as well. So I just wondered your thoughts on this and whether this is a legitimate concern. I believe it was Sean P. Diddy Combs and others that were involved in this space. But is this real, or is this a attack on Black men by the white establishment and everything? Or do you think that he was actually involved in that kind of activity? Not that we can't be involved in that activity. We all know that, I hate to put it this way, because he is the father figure to many people because of his roles in TV. But yeah, Bill Cosby did do some stuff that he probably shouldn't have been doing, and maybe Sean was doing some stuff as well. But you're a woman and they're in DC. What's your take on this?
Well, you know, the whole Bill Cosby thing, you know, nobody forced nobody to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You had an opportunity to, you know, decline, because like I've been in situations, you know, people are like, oh, you want this drink, you know, or you want to do this, you want to do that. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything or whatever, you know, so you have an opportunity to decline. And, you know, my thing is with the whole Bill Cosby situation, you waited 70 years and you told nobody. That's you know, that's mathematically impossible, because we as women, we have one person that we talk to everything about. And I don't care, you know, what woman it is or whatever. We have one person that we're going to discuss everything. And you mean to tell me in 70 years you didn't tell nobody? So I know they were lying. So, you know, my thing with that is, you know, they were after money. And the P. Diddy situation, you know, I feel like that certain things happen or whatever, but at the same time, you could have walked away. You know, and there are people saying, you know, stories where they left and they walked away. Nobody told you to stay in those situations. You had a choice. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I've seen it firsthand with one of my friends who played in the NFL, how aggressive women are and how they, and, you know, certain people and how they do, you know, things just to get what they want. And then when they don't get what they want to play victim and things like that. Not saying that this happened in the P. Diddy situation, because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, people put themselves out there to do things, and then when it doesn't work in their favor, then they want to play foul and, you know, cry victim and, you know, things like that or whatever. Oh, I was abused. I was this, I was that. And to be honest with you, I think the whole Me Too movement, which was hijacked by white women, you know, I think that put a lot of men in, you know, in harm's way. Not saying that, and I'm not taking anything away from victims who were actually victimized. I'm talking about the people who were, lying and saying that they were victimized, and they were not victimized. And they know that by being a female, all you had to do was just say, you know what I'm saying? But, it's just funny how a lot of people can come up with these BS, lawsuits and things like that or whatever. And I also want to talk about, one that I tried to bring forth or whatever. And, I couldn't get an attorney to take it. You know what I'm saying? But, we'll talk about that on another show. But, as far as P. Diddy is concerned, they have, rumors have been swirling about him since, long before now. But again, a lot of people are, doing things behind closed doors to get where they want to get, and, selling their soul to the devil, so to speak. And now, they're trying to cry wolf and things like that or whatever. But my thing is, like, you always have an option. You don't have to go to those places. You don't have to be around those people. You know what I'm saying? Just because the party is happening, you don't have to be the life of it. I've had situations where I'm just like, I'm good. I'm gonna stay home. I'm good. I'm gonna do this. Oh, you want to drink? No, I'm good. I'm not drinking. Oh, you're not doing this. Oh, you're right. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you have a gut feeling.
Yeah, speaking of those gut feelings, like I said, I know we only got a minute or two to go, but in those fantasy girls, and sometimes it was the fantasy girls of the African-American males and everything, but weren't these kind of rumors circulating even back when J-Lo was dating P. Diddy and everything, and that was back in '99 and everything. So I think that some of these rumors about his infidelity and also rumors about some of his inclinations with trafficking and other things go back as far back as the late 90s and everything in that space. Now, whether they're true or whether they are conspiracies, only time and the trial of both public opinion as well as actual trials will determine that and everything. But yeah, it was.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he was trafficking or not, but being unfaithful doesn't mean you're sex trafficking. You're just unfaithful. Was he a whore? Is he a whore? Yes, he's probably definitely a whore. But I don't know, with the sex trafficking and things like that, because they always want to label black men as sex traffickers, but they never label the white men as sex traffickers and things like that or whatever. And we know for a fact that these white men fly out the countries and go and go to these brothels and things like that or whatever and have sex with virgins, because they a virgin, you pay extra money and things like that to have sex with virgins and stuff like that or whatever. And we know that these white men are flying out the country to be intimate in gay relationships and coming back sleeping with their wives and doing whatever. And we also know that, and it's a proven fact, you don't have to take Dr. Anthony's word for it, you can look it up, it's out there, that a lot of these people that are in those brothels and things like that, they were given diseases from a lot of these white men who were going over there trafficking these young women and stuff like that or whatever. So my thing is don't try to get moral now, don't try to have moral values now that it's a black man and things like that, because my thing also, if you had morals and values, then Brett Kavanaugh wouldn't be sitting on the Supreme Court. If you had morals and values, Donald Trump would have never been voted as the president. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, like, you close a blind, you have a blind eye to certain people, but when there's another person, then you want to do this.
Dr. Anthony,
you know what I'm saying?
Dr. Anthony, we can even go to one of our own, and I'm not really trying to claim him, but I do know women, including one that has passed away now and has been passed for a while, but Clarence Thomas would also be in that category, because definitely he was doing some underhanded things in his relationships even before he got together with his wife and everything. But yeah, I do know some people that are involved in that case, including the case that got him into the Supreme Court. So yeah, even some of the people in our own community can be as guilty as well. Because like I said,
definitely. I mean, Clarence Thomas is not one of those ones that I look up to as the epitome of a black man, because he hates himself. He hates the fact that he's black. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. The clock on the wall says that's all. I love conversing with you, Mark, and things like that or whatever, because you always evoke the beast in me. When we have these conversations and things like that or whatever. But we have to save it for the next show. So make sure you guys click like and share, and put us out there and continue to support. And we're a little over time, so we'll see you next Monday.
Next Monday, we're getting ready to get out of here. As always, it was fun talking to you, and we're getting ready to get on out of here.
What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.